What was that?
Welcome into episode 11 of Going the JC Route
It's morphin'
podcast.
time.
This is your host, JC. The gang is back together. We're here together again right before Thanksgiving. I'm thankful for you boys. We're happy to be here this week. As you can tell, I sound like a whole load of gravel, which sucks. But that's okay. We've got the boys here. And I got to start with this, man. One, rest in peace, Green Power Ranger. Gotta show the respects, of course. Second of all, how about them damn Cowboys?
I
That was
know,
a really
man.
good one.
Dude, it was awesome. I thought after coming off of the loss to Green Bay, I was a little bit disheartened, but I convinced myself to saying, okay, it's just rust from the bye week. It'll all work out. But I wasn't too thrilled with going into Minnesota. And to be fair, analysts, people who do this for a living, didn't really give us a shot either after what Minnesota did going into Buffalo, having that come back the way they did. I will absolutely give them respect for doing that. And then for the Cowboys to turn it around and go in there the way they did, unbelievable, unbelievable game. That defense, the pass rush, the offense, my man Tony Pollard, all of it just came together beautifully. What do you think, Bird?
I'm glad you mentioned the analysts because there's this funny video going around of Ryan Lewis, I think it was, on the NFL Network
Yeah.
before the game, and it says, and it's one of those graphics where all the analysts pick Minnesota straight across the board,
Yeah.
and he's going, Cowboys have no shot. It doesn't matter what they do. If they load the box, Jay Jettas is going for 200. If they go light box, Dalvin Cook is going for 200.
Yep.
And now look what happened.
Exactly. Look what happened. And I think if they stuck to the run a little more, we maybe see a closer game. But all in all, and I'm finding something real quick on my phone. All in all, Minnesota ran the ball a decent amount, and the defense held their own,
Not
man.
enough for Dalvin Cook.
The defense held their own. They did their job. I saw something interesting also about supporting Trayvon Diggs because he's been getting criticism for his play. I can't find it anymore, but it basically showed the receivers he's faced this year and how all the way from Jamar Chase to Justin Jefferson, Cooper Kupp, receivers like that, and how he's only limited them to 2 or 3 catches a game. So it's the little things that he does that outside of getting interceptions that I think he's having a better year than he did last year.
I think the category I'm staying with for now, and I have been since basically my whole life, is I'm cautiously optimistic.
Yeah.
Of
course.
To go from a performance like we had against Green Bay to a performance like we had against Minnesota, there's got to be some middle ground, some compromise there. That's truly where the Cowboys lie. Hopefully that's a little bit closer to the Minnesota performance than the Green Bay performance. But it's going to take some real finding out what happens because honestly, Minnesota was probably our hardest game left on the schedule.
Yeah, I would agree.
Besides
Philly, but look what they've done.
And then we've got Giants on Thanksgiving this week. Those 2 games are the hardest left, but they're probably the second or the hardest, if not the second hardest game left on the schedule. It's a little concerning that Cowboys have a pattern now. The two games they've played this year where they've been on a break, so to speak, are the two games they've laid an egg. Week 1 against Tampa, and then Green Bay after the bye. Hopefully, we don't have a bye the rest of the way. That'd be helpful.
Yeah,
But what that tells me is if we get to the Super
I
Bowl, we're going to shit the bed.
I agree with that. I agree with that. The whole talk about consistency, that's been the thing. I think that's been a big overwhelming theme is, are we going to lay an egg or are we going to have a performance like that we saw against Minnesota? And I like to think with this roster that it'll be like the performance we saw in Minnesota. Maybe not 40 points a game, but in terms of dominating both sides of the ball, I tend to think with the way they're performing, it's leaning more towards Minnesota. And I'll say this also to add to that. Mike McCarthy, I was displeased with his comments a week ago after Green Bay, but what he told the locker room that I thought was good was that if they analyze Green Bay properly, they're going to learn from it, and that loss is going to help them. While it's still painful, and the way they lost is painful, that type of lesson, I think, will help them and will help them achieve more success down the road, like what we just saw too. Chris?
Okay, yeah, is it my turn? So I thought that the offense looked really good. Dak made really smart decisions. Tony Pollard was running the ball very well. They were very complimentary with him and Zeke. As far the defense was good, but like from a Minnesota standpoint, they played to our strength, not our weakness. Our strength is rushing the quarterback and getting to him and putting him on the ground. They ran the ball with Dalvin Cook 11 times.
Okay.
That's not nearly enough for a running back. That's probably better than the running back at Green Bay.
Which one?
Aaron Jones.
Like he ran the ball 11 times. If you're playing the Cowboys and you know that for the last 2 weeks that you've played, that they are deficient in stopping the run, you do that, and they didn't. Now that's their fault. I mean, they lost the game 40-3. That's hard to do in any it's hard to do in any level. It's definitely hard to do in the NFL. But I mean, I'm still concerned about what the run defense looks like, and we're about to get a real test with Saquon Barkley coming.
I mean, I think we I think we also had a real test, but if I may, that I think
11 carries.
Well, hold on. That's what I'm talking about. So we did face a real test on a running back as Dalvin Cook, but the difference between what I think you're overlooking between the Packers game and this game was we put Minnesota in a position where they had to throw. We didn't really necessarily do that with Green Bay.
We did the same thing to Green Bay, and they ran the ball when they were down 14.
Well, they did, but that's different. That's a game scenario. This, like, where you are in a quarter versus if you look how far back Minnesota was, like 3rd and 14, 3rd and 20. Okay, well, they're not going to run the ball from there. 2nd and 15. I mean, how many
because they kept trying to drop
did the defense have? Well, still, when they did run the ball, Dallas answered the call. And then how many penalties did Minnesota
have? He had 6.5.
How many penalties? How many penalties did Minnesota have?
7 for 59 yards.
Okay, cool. So still, penalties set them back. I mean, at least what, 4 or 5 drives? No.
Yeah, but Dalvin Cook still has 6.5 yards a carry. That's not great. I mean, he only had 11 carries.
Great, but it's enough.
I mean, we'll see if the running game has truly improved, because that's really the biggest discrepancy on that defense. If it truly has improved, then that defense gets way better. If it still has its problems like it did the last 2 weeks before Minnesota, I mean, it's going to be tough.
And Saquon, Wow. Last game,
I'll, s- I'll s-
last game for the Giants also, like, I still will put Dalvin Cook above Saquon. Saquon wasn't even the rushing leader last week against the
well,
Lions,
I,
who are the
I'll say
worst
this, but
defense in the league. Daniel Jones was
I'll
the
say
rookie
this.
last week with 7 carries for 50 yards. Okay.
Yeah, I'll say this
That's
about
where I
no.
think.
I'll say this
Go
about the
ahead.
Giants though. The Giants are one dimensional. Like they don't really have a receiving core that like they don't have the receiving core that the Vikings do. Like whenever you're one dimensional, it's kind of hard to run between tackles. So hopefully we make them one dimensional, and hopefully
That
hopefully we
was the
stop Saquon.
point. That was the point I was going to get at, and I think it's if the Cowboys can execute the game plan similar to Minnesota, where they're forcing the Giants into second and longs, third and longs, you're going to take Saquon right out of the game. You're going to force Daniel Jones to throw the ball and make plays, and I'm not sure they can do that very, very efficiently, especially without people like Sterling Shepard, stuff like that. So it'll be interesting early on, especially seeing if Saquon's going to take over the game if our defense can hold firm, and then from there it's who can execute better on their side of the ball.
Agree.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with that. And that's the James, I think you and I are on the same page about executing the game plan and forcing the Giants to get into those second and third and longs, which is more or less what they did to Minnesota. By the way, Saquon against the Lions, which is I think we can agree the worst defense in the league. He had 15 rushing attempts for only 22 yards. So I'm not saying that that'll repeat, but I still would put shutting down Dalvin Cook a harder task than shutting down Saquon.
Yeah, because Dalvin Cook has players around, has a receiving core and a really good tight end that they just traded for. Like Saquon literally has no receivers, and they traded away their only like decent playmaker to the Chiefs. Like,
well, sure, but I mean, in terms of actually running the football, the skill of running the football, I'll put Dalvin Cook above Saquon. Me personally, but I think, like I said, I think if they execute the game plan, I think that defense is going to have another dominating game. By the way, before we move on, I found it actually. That thing I was telling you all about Trayvon Diggs. Jamar Chase, he limited to 1 catch. Terry McLaurin, 1 catch. Justin Jefferson, 3 catches. Like, the big talk of the defense, of course, is Micah Parsons this, Micah Parsons that, and rightfully so. But let's not forget Trayvon and his contribution to the defense either.
For sure. And then once we get Anthony Barr back, and that'll only help.
Oh, sure.
But it sounds like we're all in agreement. Cowboys are winning on Thanksgiving.
Do you think the Cowboys will win, James?
They should.
What's your score prediction?
Oh God. I'm gonna end up picking the Giants, aren't I? This is picking me. It's just so much like the Cowboys to have a performance like that against the Vikings, and then absolutely shit the bed against the Giants.
Oh, it is.
Yep.
It is.
It's really hard to beat a team twice in a year, but then again, the Cowboys have done it in the NFC East the last couple of years. I'm gonna take the Cowboys. It's gonna be God. I'm gonna say 31-17.
That's fair because they're 9.5-point favorites right now.
So that's a 14-point win. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's fair.
Cowboys will win and cover.
And sure, it is hard to beat a team twice. Do you know the record currently of the past 7 or 8 years between the Cowboys and the Giants? It's not close. It is not.
The Cowboys have won almost all of them.
I think in the last 7 years, the Giants have only beaten us once.
You know what the Cowboys' record is in the past? Was it 10 Thanksgivings?
What? What is it?
They've won 3 games, and that's
It's not good.
That's not good either.
It's not. It's not great.
Yeah.
You stop Saquon Barkley, and you kind of stop their offense. So
Stop Saquon. Contain Daniel Jones. That's it.
And then the offense has to play as good as it did against the Vikings. The Cowboys had the ball. What was it, like 33 minutes in that game? Like they had it 15 more minutes than the Vikings. That's also very key to winning a game, especially if you go up against a team that likes to run the ball a lot, or you can't really stop. The best way to stop it is to have long drives, and they were doing that very well. And hopefully they do that again.
And you and I think, touched on that during the game last week. We both said something how we liked the quarterback. Wow, the Cowboys' quote unquote clock management and keeping the Vikings offense off the field.
Yeah, I mean, that the offense. I think a key to it is coming out. First off, if you get the coin toss, don't get the ball to start the game, please. Can we defer so we can get the ball so we can double dip? And then the offense cannot come out with a slow start.
Yeah, agree.
I want them to come out. Defense comes out hard hitting, then the offense goes out hard hitting. So, I feel like it's gonna be close.
I think it'll be closer than the Minnesota game.
It'll be a lot closer than the Minnesota game.
I think it will be.
But
the Giants are also their best corner is safety. Just went out for about 4 to 5 weeks. So
it'll probably be close for a little bit, and then we'll pull out. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, I'm ready to move on. Are you guys? I think Cowboys are winning on Thanksgiving.
What's your score prediction?
Oh, I'm not giving one.
I'm going to go.
That hat is just so massive on your head.
Yeah, it is. I'm going to go. Let me think. I'll go 38-24.
Okay.
In favor of Dallas.
I'm not giving one.
Go ahead. Pick the Giants. Pick
the Giants, you coward.
I'm not picking a score.
Come on, Shiny. Make a pick.
You're no fun. You
Everybody has a pooper. That's why we invited you. On that note, moving on. Last Saturday in Lawrence, it was the Bijan Robinson party. Bro, why are you looking at me like that? What? Oh, wait. Okay, we'll get used to it. Anyway.
Are we having our first visitor on the podcast?
We do have a visitor. Come say hi. Oh. Wow. Even the dog has said hi. Okay.
Not by choice.
That's fair. Even though. Okay, so I know a couple weeks ago, James, you asked me what I saw as the best outcome of these next 3 games. I think if they play TCU right, I could be looking at 3-0, but I'm okay with 2-1.
Oh.
And the one, it was a great performance by Texas against Kansas, and I certainly didn't see that big of a dominating performance coming. I'm still a little on edge about Quinn Ewers only completing 12 passes, but Bijan, I'm a little bit puzzled why they haven't used him like that all year. That's why you have a running back like Bijan Robinson. Games like that right there. And if the Cowboys somehow lose Tony Pollard, I have seen, and of course it's all speculation, so who knows, that the Cowboys are going to be the ones ending up with Bijan.
We need a defensive tackle.
As James wipes his head. Yeah, man. I bet that all in all, I loved it. I love that.
Well,
I
two
love that.
things.
I love
Two
and
things.
hold on. I also love the way the defense contained Jalen Daniels.
Your turn.
Yeah. Texas defense
JC, your turn.
has looked really good last couple weeks.
Yeah, that's some of the best defense I've seen in a long time. This season, that defense.
What tools do you need to make your holiday magic? Well,
Who
trees.
is that? Is that me? No. It wasn't me. Oh,
Again?
It was
come
me.
Again.
It was me.
Again?
It was me.
Dude, we're gonna get demonetized.
We're gonna get sued.
we can't even be monetized.
Do that again, and
so
we're kicking you off the show.
If that defense was a little more consistent this year, that'd make me even more happy. But all in all, like that defense has looked miles better this year than it did last year and the year before that.
It was definitely a really good performance. Now, let's not have a letdown against Baylor this week, please and thank you.
I don't know, man.
Or do that'd be fun.
I think Shapen. What's your take on Shapen, James? Good, bad, okay?
He does the job. Like
He does the job. I think
Baylor has a really good running game.
Yeah.
The split zone, outside zone.
Squirrel Williams.
Squirrel Williams and all the other backs they've got, Richard Reese.
Really cool.
Their defense is also solid. I mean, they literally forced TCU to have a Hail Mary last-second field goal to win that game this past week. So they're good. They'll sneak up on you if you're not careful. I mean, if Texas loses and Oklahoma wins, we're going to end the year on the same record. So I think that would be funny. Where Texas is improving, quote unquote, and they have the same record as Oklahoma, which most of our fans are calling this the worst season in multiple since John Blake.
I think it's the type of losses OU has had versus the type of losses Texas has had.
Also,
Yeah, I mean, what?
I was going to say also, like, when was the last time they had a record that was as pedestrian as it is right now? Because most of the time, Oklahoma has 10 wins at the least,
So
maybe 9 wins at the least.
So the last time we had a losing season was 1998. John Blake. Last time we were 7-5 was Bob Stoops' first year in 1999.
So it's been a very long time.
And then in 2000 we won the Natty. So looking for a big jump next year, boys.
Okay.
So you got natty expectations next year?
Hell no. But that'd be really
Joking.
fun.
Sarcasm.
Speaking of fun, Bedlam was fun for about a quarter.
Dude,
For y'all.
I was
it was great for you.
James, you know I was cheering for you, man. I made that very clear. After making fun of you so much, I was pulling for you.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't think Kansas State's going to lose again. So
I don't either.
sucks to suck. Sorry there, bud. But
I think it sucks for both of us because we're going to have an all-purple Big 12 championship game, which is
I like the color purple. I'm not upset.
so because it's
I'm also your color.
because it's royalty.
I don't know, dude. Whatever you want to call it. But no, dude, Bedlam was fun for about a quarter. I think the first quarter showed you how good this Oklahoma program and system can be under Brent Venables and Jeff Lebby, but the lack of consistency is alarming. But also the story of the season. I mean, our defense this weekend was lights out. And you're holding Spencer Sanders to 13 points in a game is awesome. But the fact that we didn't score a point for 3 quarters and couldn't move the ball after the first quarter was damn near record setting in program history. Somebody needs to do some explaining. whether it's Jeff Lebby not being too conservative, and he admitted that in the press conference after the game. He went a little conservative in the second half, but not all the blame can be on him. Dylan Gabriel, dude, you've got to complete these passes. You've got to be more accurate if we want to be legit contenders at the highest level. Because some of these throws he's missing are unacceptable, man.
I didn't realize he was only 50%. Yet again, Spencer Sanders threw 4 interceptions.
At least he's not doing that.
No, he's.
But
he has.
Spencer Sanders is Spencer Sanders, dude. He'll turn that freaking ball over.
That's true. I think it's funny you mentioned that, James. One of my friends that I know from church on Facebook posted. He goes, "Is it okay to be this frustrated at a win against your rival?" He was mad.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he was mad, bro. And I mean, you're talking about a guy where him and his girlfriend at the time both go to OU. They end up getting engaged during the Boomer Sooner fight song. I'm not kidding. It's actually, yeah. They at their dinner or whatever. It was, I think, the homecoming pre-dinner or something. My friend, I won't say his name, but he proposed to her during the fight song. So
that's my kind of proposal.
Diehard fans, right? Diehard fans. This is the one time I've actually seen him go on social media and be openly angry about a win that the Sooners put on. But you think it's definitely justifiable?
As far as what?
As far as is it okay to be angry at your team for a performance like that and getting the win against your rival?
I don't want to say angry, because I don't think angry is the right word. Puzzled is a better word.
Just frustrated?
A little frustrated, yeah. Because we're showing flashes of what we can be, what the possibilities are. And then we're just going back to the depths of what we've been for a good chunk of this year. Especially when it's third quarter, fourth quarter, we're trying to bleed clock and you're snapping the ball with 30 seconds left on the play clock. What are you doing? Like, I understand it's a tempo offense, right? That's the whole point of it. You're going quick. But, dude, the clock's your friend. Let it run out.
Yeah.
Like, you should not be snapping that ball with more than 10 seconds on that play clock.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
You got to understand when to use tempo.
And that's why it was good. It was fun. Like, Mike Gundy's going to Mike Gundy, dude. Like, choking in Bedlam is what he does.
Hey, he's a man. He's 40.
He's damn near 50 now, if not more.
Hey, you're going after the right person, though.
But the inconsistently worries me, especially having to go to Lubbock this weekend in the dark. Weird shit happens in Lubbock at night, especially the last game of the year. As much as I love and adore Joey McGuire, I can't let him do that to us this weekend.
Yeah. Agree, man. And then I know Mr. Bird over there.
That shitty grin on his face.
Yeah, he actually got some enjoyment out of his Razorbacks for once.
Was it more the Razorbacks or was it Lane Kiffin mailing it in?
I think he mailed it in after the first quarter because we kind of came out and just blew him out of the water in the first quarter, and then and then the fourth quarter happened, and I think we kind of just took our foot off the gas. But
surely by this point, Lane's recruiting for Auburn, isn't he?
I mean, he said he has no intention to leave. That's what he said. But
Lane says a lot of shit.
That's what the guy at USC said before he went to USC. But so
no, he said he's not going to LSU.
That is true. So that means that he's not going to Auburn, and that he's in fact going to
fucking Nebraska or some stupid shit.
Sing the song. Sing the song.
But I mean, I mean, who knows what really happened in that game? Whether or not he was fully into it or not. But I mean, it was a lot of fun for about 3 quarters, and then like I said, we took the foot off the gas, and I'm just happy we're bowl eligible after the year that we've had with
Same.
the the losses to A&M, the
How bad does that loss look now? Holy shit!
Holy shit!
I'm just like, why did we like? Honestly, like, I don't want to go back to that game because it makes
This is
me.
the reason.
No, it's not. That's not the main reason. But like, you should have beaten that team by the final score should have been about 45 to 14 in that game. But I mean, it's been such a stupid year for Arkansas. But I'm just happy that we're bowl eligible, and we'll see what happens against Missouri because we don't like beating them in Columbia.
The good old battle line.
Hey, speaking of bowl eligibility, Chris told me something that one of the likely opponents Arkansas will face in a bowl game is you, Mr.
Oklahoma Sooners. What is it? The Texas Bowl or some stupid shit like that?
James, I'll say Boomer Sooner with you against Arkansas.
We go into San Antonio.
I think we all.
No, that's the Alamo Bowl.
I think
Texas Bowl is in Houston.
Oh, gross.
Gross. Oh yeah, that's right. It is in Houston.
Shit, we going to Houston?
Ugh.
I mean, if it's there, I'd consider it.
Do we need to? Bring some spray paint for the Houston.
Surely tickets are only going to be like $20 or something like that.
I mean, I'm already into basketball season anyway, so. Have I said that?
Yes, yes, you have.
I have? Okay.
You've made that abundantly clear.
No, we might. If y'all's teams do need to go, if y'all's teams do end up playing in a bowl game, we need to go.
What bowl is
we had to get past it
at this point?
What
bowl is Texas going to be in at this point? The Cheez-It Bowl?
No, it's the other one, James. The other one that you.
No, the Alamo Bowl. They're projected to go the Alamo Bowl, but that's a projection. We don't exactly know where we're actually going.
Against
Texas in the Alamo Bowl is a match made in heaven, man.
Against Washington.
That'd actually be halfway fun. Michael Penix, if he stays.
The Alamo is always fun. The Alamo Bowl is always fun. There's always two high-powered offenses, and there's always a lot of points.
Remember the Alamo.
But
the Alamo Bowl.
Other than our games last week, holy crap! What the hell happened to Tennessee,
dude? I don't even know. Like, I think. Wait, when did Hendon Hooker go out with the injury?
It wasn't until like the third or
fourth quarter.
Okay,
yeah, it was late.
Then
I think you had a scenario where I didn't watch the game because I was watching a different game, but I feel like you have a scenario where maybe the offense got off to a late start, and Tennessee's defense has been suspect all year, and Spencer Rattler is very inconsistent.
Remembered he was good.
He found the right time to actually remember that he was actually a really good quarterback, and that secondary is very suspect. So they got obliterated.
Yeah. Also, boys, before we move on completely, I did just find, as of about 20 hours ago, the new bowl projections. So it's no longer Arkansas and Oklahoma. Oklahoma is likely going to the Texas Bowl and playing Mississippi State. And then
Mike Leach reunion. And
then Arkansas is potentially going to the Gator Bowl in Florida to play Notre Dame.
Gross.
Yeah, I don't know about going to Florida.
Anyway,
well, what I was saying is, I think I may have abandoned one of my preseason takes too soon.
Oh yeah.
Which was?
I said before the season started, I am very high on South Carolina, and I think I remember abandoning it after they started 1-2.
Well, they've been very inconsistent all year, I think. I
would disagree. since those two losses, they've been 5. They went 5-2. However, their wins aren't exactly impressive wins, other than their win against Tennessee. I mean, so since they lost to Georgia, they beat Charlotte, beat South Carolina State, they beat 13th ranked Kentucky, which was a good win because that was in Kentucky. They beat Texas A&M.
Which does it actually look as good considering that didn't Vandy just beat Kentucky?
Yes.
Okay.
But they lose to Missouri in Columbia, South Carolina. Then they beat Vandy, and then they get blown out by Florida, who this week loses to Vanderbilt.
That's what I'm talking about, the inconsistencies.
Yeah, that's fair. Because then they come home and they blow the doors off of Tennessee, which I'm surely USC fans are sending the real USC fans some nice whiskey or something, because that's helping their playoff hopes immensely.
Oh, it is tremendously helping them.
But regardless, I think what I was saying is I think I abandoned my take too early, because 7-4 for them in the East is respectable. And I mean, they've already matched their win total from last year. That now they have to play Clemson this week. Yeah, okay. And then they have a bowl game where they could very easily end up with more wins than they did last year, which I'd say that's a win for one of my preseason takes, because I think their over under going into the season was like 5, like 4.5 or 5, and they definitely outperformed that.
I mean, you talk about a tough SEC East. I mean, even Vandy's getting up there and playing some good games.
Vanderbilt.
Yep.
Well, I mean, that's a team
that was projected to win 2 games.
Think about it this way: Vanderbilt's 5-6. They're not going to beat Kentucky this week. They're not. I mean, Tennessee. Sorry, they're not going to beat Tennessee this week.
No, they're not.
But if they did, they'd be going to a bowl game. I think their over/under total this year was 2.5. They've doubled their total. They
have. They've done a remarkable job over there. I don't know. I feel weird talking about Vanderbilt right now, but they've done a remarkable job at what they're doing, and I mean they're not going to beat Tennessee, but I mean if they can just somehow stay in the game, would be incredible for them. I mean, what
I'm not sure that
are we still
that Tennessee fans are going to checker their stadium this week as they plan now.
Although it looks a little bit more interesting with Hooker being, is he out?
Yeah, he tore his ACL or something like that. He's out.
Oh yeah, that's right. He's out for the year. It looks a little bit more interesting with him being out. But yeah, I'd imagine he'd probably skip the bowl game considering they don't.
Let's see, what other big games do we have this past week that I might
TCU Baylor.
Well, we kind of touched.
We kind of touched on it. Like, what the hell, dude? Like, you can't be doing you.
Look, I'll say this. And I gained a lot more respect for TCU after they had gone into Waco and beaten them. I still think that they're going to find a game to lose, but to do it the way they did against Baylor, was, I thought, fairly impressive. Absolutely. And the way, they just keep finding ways to win. I don't know, they just keep doing BS to just get to a win, and it's working for them. But at some point, that's going to run out. But I just thought I'd touch on that.
Sure.
I mean, to be fair, there was a lot of games this past week that were close and not necessarily should have been. Like Ohio State, what are you doing against Maryland? I know they pulled away at the end, but dude, it's Maryland.
What about
Michigan? Michigan almost fell asleep against Illinois.
Yeah,
Michigan.
Yeah, Michigan.
Georgia No, they were never really in trouble of losing to Kentucky, but 16-6, like, come on, man, it's Kentucky. They just lost to Vanderbilt.
You know, the thing about
And
Georgia
then
is they have
I'll
looked.
tell you what, I think I will tell you this.
Can
One
I
of the
say
games
that-
I actually had a chance to watch this weekend a little bit was USC UCLA.
Okay.
Yeah.
That game was a lot of fun.
I watched a little bit of it too.
And then I
Was I-
watched some of Oregon Utah, another really fun game.
Yeah, I had my eye on that one.
Speaking of which, if USC gets into the playoff, I'm gonna be upset.
Is that your worst nightmare, James, coming true?
No, because we know USC is gonna go in and get blown out by Georgia in the first round. That's not why. Actually, the more I think about it, I would love to see that. Fuck
Fair.
Lincoln Riley.
Tell us how you really feel.
So, that would be a lot of fun, actually. And I had somebody ask me this question today, actually. So Oklahoma is competing with Notre Dame right now for a couple really, really high rated recruits. And Notre Dame plays USC this week. They're asking me, would I rather have USC boat race Notre Dame to help USC's playoff picture, and then also make the recruits not look as favorably on Notre Dame, or have Notre Dame beat USC and basically erase them from playoff contention? And I had to think about it for a minute because I was like, well, obviously I want Lincoln Riley to lose because he deserves all the bad shit that comes to him at any point for what he did to Oklahoma.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
the more I think about it, I would love to see them get in the playoffs and get boat raced by Georgia. And then also, of course, that's right. Because if Notre Dame wins, then the recruits stay at Notre Dame. So yes, let Lincoln Riley boat race Notre Dame. Let the recruits come to Oklahoma. I love me some 5 stars, and then let Lincoln Riley get boat raced in the playoff. That would be the best case scenario in my mind.
I think I would fall the same way, bro. Honestly,
I'll tell you what, though.
Yeah.
Caleb Williams might win the Heisman.
you think over CJ? I think CJ
After-
is going to win the Heisman.
So I'll put it this way: the games in November are the games that get remembered, and the
Okay.
last couple weeks, CJ Stroud has not looked great. Northwestern this week against Maryland, and all Caleb Williams has done the last 2 weeks is put up his best stats of the year. I mean, in a rivalry game this weekend, he had his career high total yards. He had over 500 yards this weekend on his own. And then if you stack that on another good game against Notre Dame this week, he's going to be really, really close, if not the winner.
Yeah.
Who's the favorite
Yeah.
to win the Heisman right now?
Probably him.
CJ Stroud. I think the last time I saw it, I think he was like minus 120 or 140, and Caleb Williams was like plus 140.
Oh, so it's
one question.
It's not that far off.
One question. Who goes to New York? Not who wins it, but who goes?
Dude, there's a ton of people
There's a
that go
ton
to
of
New
people
York.
you can put on there.
I think Stroud's in regardless. I think at this point Caleb Williams is in.
Yeah.
I think if Michigan wins this weekend, I think Blake Corum gets an invite.
Hold on, is Corum playing?
I think so.
Because he went out.
Does Hooker still get an invite, or
I think Hooker could get an invite because he's been really good this year. Drake May should get an invite, but I don't think he will. I think if TCU wins this weekend or they win the Big 12, I think Max Duggan gets an invite.
You think?
okay?
Like, there's legitimately like 5 to 7 players that could or should get an invite, but we know they're going to limit it to like 3, 4, or 5, something like that.
Yeah, that's how it normally is.
I think at this point though, it's CJ Stroud, Caleb Williams, and everybody else. But it's one of those things where I think if Michigan wins this weekend against Ohio State, I know we'll talk about that game here in a second, but I think if Michigan wins, Blake Corum gets the invite. But if Ohio State wins, I think that's kind of an eliminator for Blake Corum.
Does it? But what it does it? Would it still be an eliminator if the game is like high scoring and they lose, or
It-
do you,
I
does
think
that
it
play a
depends
factor
on.
in it at all?
It's all context based. Same thing. It's like Michigan doesn't have a resume this year, and if they lose to Ohio State, they definitely don't have a resume. But if it's a close loss, then even then, it's still close.
I agree, and I think more it's how Corum does too in the game. Like if he's a big factor or not, he probably will be, but I don't know because he is coming off an injury.
I thought weren't you going to pay for the tickets to that game?
Yeah, what's
You know-
up? We going to the big house or what?
Yeah, you
No,
taking
no,
us. We're
we're going to
paying for it all.
I want to
You're
go.
paying for it all. That's what you. That's you paid for it all. You said that through text.
We've got
And,
the
we-
receipts. I can pull it up.
I know you can. I know you can. I really want to. I thought about it actually because my cousin was telling me, he's like, dude, if you go, I'm going because he's a big Michigan guy. I looked at the price and I just went, yeah.
Hey, you put it on the table though.
I did. I know I did, and I was eating my words instantly after I put that on the table and then took a look. No, that's a bit brutal. It's more expensive to go to that game than it is to Jerry World, boys. Let that sink in.
No, wow. You don't say. One of the biggest games in college football is more expensive than to go to Jerry World.
Texas versus Oklahoma is bigger. Change my mind.
Not this year though.
It's a better rivalry. Change my mind.
Not this year.
No, just in general.
I think the game has more history to it, but I think as an overall rivalry, it's more fun.
Mm-hmm.
But okay, I think it's enough about last week. Let's talk about this week. Let's start with that game. I mean, who's winning that game?
I'm going to go Ohio State because it's at the Horseshoe.
I'm going Ohio State. Like I just Michigan had escaped last week, and it was probably because they were looking towards Ohio State, and they really haven't played anybody. And yeah, I the Horseshoe plays a factor. I think they win.
I am leaning the same direction. I think Ohio State wins this game. They're just way too talented on offense, and then their defense is improved enough to help. The one thing that makes me nervous is the reason why Michigan won last year, and it's their physicality and the ability to run the ball. As much as Ohio State has improved this year, they are not a physical football team.
True.
And if Michigan is able to get their hands on these Ohio State players and out physical them the whole game and allow Blake Corum, Donovan Edwards, whoever else to run for 100, 150, 200, Michigan's got a legitimate shot to win this game, even if it's in the Horseshoe.
It's funny you say that. So I heard, I think last weekend, that the team that ran the ball for more yards, and I mean, this is kind of common sense, but the team that ran for more yards, and I think the last 15 seasons, has won the game. The majority of that has been Ohio State.
And so that's where I think statistically or analytically to that point, Michigan has the edge because regardless if Blake Corum plays or not, Donovan Edwards is still a really, really good running back. And then their true freshman this year has also been really good. Ohio State, Travion Henderson's hurt. Mayan Williams is hurt. Jackson Smith and Jigba's hurt.
Is it Marvin Harrison banged up?
I don't remember, dude. But the point is Ohio State's a lot thinner in the running back room than Michigan is. So I think if we're talking about running the ball purely, I think Michigan's got that edge.
Yeah, they do. I think, though, that the environment is because of everything that hangs on the line this time around. I think Ohio State has the edge.
Sure. I'm going to go with it. I think Ohio State wins this game, but I think Michigan will make it a lot closer than it needs to be.
It'll be close. It'll be closer and it'll probably be ugly.
Who wins the Egg Bowl?
I hope Mississippi State.
I would like Mississippi State, but oh gosh, that is because Mississippi State's bipolar as hell. Heck, like one day, like it depends on how their offense gets out. And then I'm sure Ole Miss is really ticked off about what happened last week, or maybe they just don't care. I don't know, but I'm gonna give Ole Miss the game.
I'm going to go Mississippi State by the pure fact that I truly think Lane Kiffin is checked out.
That's part of the reason.
That's
why I'm going.
That's the question.
State too.
That's the question. If he has truly checked out, then yeah, I agree with that. But if they show up and they are ready to play, I'd give it to Ole Miss because Mississippi State likes to come out flat sometimes.
Texas Baylor, Friday at 11 a.m.
Is that in Waco?
It is in Austin.
It's in Austin Friday morning.
Apparently, you can get tickets for $4.
Nice.
Really? Hold on a second. Can you?
I'm looking at the ESPN website, and sure enough, there is a general admission
as
ticket
low
for
as
$4.
Hold on, is that That's got to be standing room. Yeah, it's standing room.
It's $4 though.
Hold on, a seat is $31.
Okay, that's not bad.
That's not bad. No, the thought occurred.
What
to
did
me,
we go to Philly for?
Actually,
how much was Philly?
Those are like 100 and I think they're like 160 a piece. 170.
Yeah,
like that.
yeah. I'd do third. But with Baylor, Texas, it's like if they hand the ball off a lot, then they probably have a really good chance at winning. Talking about Texas. If yours drops back to pass a lot, probably lose.
That's the one thing that makes me nervous.
It depends on the Quinn Ewers that we get. So
well, I think the Quinn Ewers we get is going to be dependent upon Texas's ability to run the ball. That's the one thing that makes me nervous about running the ball is Baylor's defensive line is stout. You've got Apuika in the middle who's just going to absorb 2 or 3 players minimum, massive human being. And if Baylor's front 7 is allowed to start taking over the game, Texas is going to struggle. However, if Sark is able to scheme up a friendly enough offense this weekend that can get Bijan involved, get him yards and touches, but also make it easy enough to get completions from Quinn Ewers, Texas might run away with the game.
Yep.
I'm just not 100% confident in Sark's ability to be consistent yet. And that's where
another thing,
and I'm not either yet, but in terms of this game, I think Texas has the edge. I think they'll win. I think they'll win by 10.
one thing about it is, if they have to drop back and pass, if you're yours, it's okay to throw it underneath. It's okay to, you don't have to go 50 yards down the field every time. You can, if you need to, throw it to your running backs, throw it, like I said, underneath. Make smart decisions with it, and don't try to use your arm as a cannon.
Right.
That's been one of my biggest gripes about the Oklahoma offense is there's no intermediate passing game. They're short, dinks, dunks, slants, and screens, and then there's the deep ball. There's nothing in the middle.
Well, that's all you got with yours from during the TCU game. I think you dropped back.
To be fair, Chris. To be fair, TCU's defense has played outstanding. So I'm not
okay,
gonna,
but he was.
I'm not
time
gonna
to.
I'm not going to put it all on. I mean, look what Bijan did against TCU. Basically nothing.
He stood. He dropped back to pass 7 times and literally threw it into double coverage. You can you can throw it somewhere in between. You don't have to look all the way far every time. Like he could have thrown it somewhere in between. If there's nothing there, then
I don't
he was
disagree.
going long every time.
I don't disagree, but it's not all on. I'm not going to say that it was all just a bad Quinn Ewers. TCU's defense
No, it was bad.
played
It was
incredibly.
also a bad preparation.
Not even that. I'm not going to take away what TCU did. But no, I think it depends what type of preparation and Ewers we get, and if they're going to use Bijan like the way they did last week. So we'll see.
They should use him as much as possible, and if it looks like it doesn't work,
Roshan.
yeah, I'm talking about the running game in general. If it doesn't work, then you had to drop back and pass. But like I said, you don't have to. You can throw it. You can throw it for 5 yards.
James, I saw something also that you'll find interesting. Apparently, Lincoln Riley's trying to convince Xavier Worthy to transfer to USC in the portal this year.
Not surprised.
The dude just
Well, so did you hear? So there's a story out there that apparently Xavier Worthy tried to hit the portal after last season. I love that Ryan's trying to sneak out the back.
I know, right?
Tell Ryan. Hi, Ryan. Tell Ryan I said,
Come visit.
Well,
Our first guest. No, you have to. The guest.
You're already busted at this point.
Yeah, you have to. This is just awkward now. You have to come say hi.
hi, Ryan.
She can't stay there. She's either got to commit one way or another.
Wow. But
Okay,
we're all
she's going
talking
now.
after the show.
That's fine. So apparently the story is that once you put your name in the portal, you actually have, I believe it's 48 hours before your name is actually public for everybody. So the school you left from has 48 hours to convince you to stay if you can. And Texas managed to do that with Xavier Worthy after last year.
Wow.
The burden for him now becomes he's got to stay one more year. He's only a sophomore. The question becomes, do you risk your final season or what might be your final season in college football in the system? Stop it. Do you risk your final year, potentially your final year in college, in a system with a quarterback you don't trust? Or do you go somewhere like USC and say, hey, this might be my last year in college football. Let me go play with Caleb Williams.
Right.
So I can see where that argument is completely valid.
Right. Yeah, I can too. And I mean, we'll see what happens this year too, but I don't know. I don't have too much to add on that one.
All right. The battle line. Who's winning the battle line?
Arkansas.
I'm going to say Arkansas, but I'm not confident because I don't think we've won up there. It's stupid. But
Hey, give me Mizzou. I hate Eli Drinkwitz. Screw that guy. He's a bitch, but he knows how to beat Arkansas and Columbia.
I'm going to say Arkansas, but it's very close. Like we come back and win type thing.
And that game's on Friday at 2:30. Nice.
It's always on Friday at 2:30 since I was
All right.
watch football really.
South Carolina, Clemson. Is this really going to be close?
No.
I
got Clemson.
Did South Carolina shit the bed after their performance last week? I think so.
I think so.
I think they can. I think they will. But the thing with Clemson is you have to wonder if Yolanda LA is going to get off to a slow start like they have. So I feel like it's going to be close for a little bit, but then Clemson is going to show why they're a top 10. What are they? Top 15 team at least? Top 10 team?
Yeah. By the way, Say his name really slow, Chris.
Ulungalale?
Uyulungalale.
DJ Uiagalele.
Lungalalalalalalalalalalalalalale.
Yeah.
I gotta stop you
We
there
got
because there's no
Clemson.
N in his name.
That's right. There isn't. I've been saying.
Yeah, there's plenty of other games we could talk through, but I think the major thing for us to do is just enjoy it. It's our last full week of college football this year. It's been a hell of a ride, boys.
Yeah. James, remind me, speaking of it being a hell of a ride, what was the final score of Red River again?
That's about all we need to know. We don't need to hear from him the rest of the day.
No, he's good. He's off.
Have a rant.
Do you?
But
What are you gonna rant about? Let's do our parting shots and get out of here.
You have a parting
I can
shot?
go cough my lungs out some more.
You have a parting shot, Chris?
I've got nothing. I mean, it's been a very good year. I mean, I wish it was a little bit better for Arkansas' sake, but a very fun year for sure. And I mean, we still got another month of football, so we'll see how much better it gets and who ends up winning the national championship at the end. And also, rest in peace to Tommy.
I think Georgia.
Okay, so what are you trying to say, AJ?
I said I think you asked a question and I answered. Do you want me to explain?
Not that part.
What are we talking about here?
What are we talking? He asked the question, who's going to win the national championship? I said Georgia. Who?
I never said that. I said we'll see who wins the national championship.
Oh, I thought you asked. I must have heard you wrong.
And then I asked, what do you have to say?
Okay.
AJ.
So,
Aiden, your parting shot, please.
if I'm going back to the Cowboys here. One, we have heard our owner / general manager / whatever other 5 titles he has
Dark Overlord.
because he has too big of an inferiority complex to hire real professionals to do those jobs. We have heard him say that he's going to do something to improve the team. My man, OBJ, if he wants to be here this badly, would Jerry Jones just go ahead and do it? Also, to bring it up again, to bring this up, my last parting take on Jerry Jones is he needs to get over himself and put Jimmy Johnson up in the Ring of Honor, which isn't going to happen for a while, and it's very sad. It's unfortunate. Jerry Jones did not build that team. That was all Jimmy Johnson. And good for Jimmy for not bending over backwards so he can try and get screwed by Jerry by trying to kiss ass and say, no, it was you, my bad. No. I've got mucho respect for Jimmy for staying true to himself and not giving in. But he does need to be in the Ring of Honor, and that's my rant on our fearless leader known as Jerry Jones. Chris, would you agree with everything I just said?
Yeah.
The reason why I got on that is I heard it on the radio the other day that they were bringing it up again, and it's just sad, honestly. You have a coach that did so much for you and so much for the franchise that made literally pieced together a team that decorated your franchise.
That won you 3 Super Bowls, even though the third one was won by Barry Switzer, but we all know who won that. Who should have had that third one. And who knows where this team goes? Sorry to interrupt you, but who knows where this team goes if they do not get rid of Jimmy Johnson? Like, where does this team go if he does not get rid of? You know what?
I agree. We could talk about that for another hour, but and then this is my other part, my third part of the rant. I don't like this, but I know this is what's going to happen. The Cowboys need to pay my man Tony Pollard. That's not going to happen. They're going to stick with Zeke, which I think is the wrong decision because Zeke's on the decline in his career. But that's my thing. If I could have it my way, I would sign TP and give him whatever he wants. And if it meant,
I would like to see the Cowboys actually.
If it meant getting rid of Zeke, I'm okay with it. It's time to move on.
I would like to see the Cowboys actually go and do something in free agency and actually do trades. Like they have a trend where they draft really good players and then they sign those players and then they do not live up to their expectations the second time around. Like it's okay to go and trade guys. It's okay to go and get guys off of free agency. You do not win a Super Bowl by only drafting guys. Go and get guys. Go and sign guys. Go and trade for guys. I didn't even have a planned rant, but that just came out.
Yes.
Reminds me of the Charlie Brown meme I saw after the NFL trade deadline. You've got all these teams on Halloween saying, I got a wide receiver. I got a tight end. I got a defensive tackle. Then there's the Cowboys. I got a rock.
What are you going to say, Jason?
Fucking unbelievable.
It sounds like same old that the Cowboys have once again broken us. Or you at least.
I love what they do. I love what the show they put on last week, but my ranting for Jerry Jones is still not going to end until I agree with Chris, get to a championship game, get to the Super Bowl, or win both of those.
We may not ever do that until he is not a part of the team. And hopefully I'm wrong.
Well, I'm sure we'll find out soon enough. Or we'll find out at some point. But until then, this was going the JC route. Thanks for listening. Thanks for stopping in. Hope everyone has a fun and safe Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
I know we're going to enjoy it. But until then, we'll see you when we see you.